Hello.
Wait, I can see it now. Yes, I'm fine. I
Okay,
can see it.
so the data set with you has three sheets. Sheet 1 has customer, sheet 2 has others, sheet 3 has phone numbers. So for now we are going to do um simple Excel topics to advanced ones. So we are moving from simple to complex advanced queries. So if you open the first sheet, which is the customer sheet, you see that you have like 6 columns there: OMRRTS, first name, last name, gender, city, and country. So this OMRRTS is the customer ID for each of these customers right here. So the first customer, which is Cornelius Kujawa, male, Tokyo, Japan, has this ID here. So this is going to be used to track each customer. So now the total number of rows that you have is 151 rows for the record, because the first record right here is the header. So now moving on to the second data set, or the second sheet, you have the same OMRRTS, customers, hashtag, orders, date, product, quantity, unit price, total cost, and discount. So now this one right here is the order ID, which means that a customer can order more than one product. So if a customer orders more than one product, their order ID will be different, but then the customer ID will still remain the same. And then we have the order date, which is the date in which a customer ordered a particular product. While products right here is the
But the customer order.
exactly the products that the customer has ordered. So now the quantity is what the customer has ordered for. The unit price is how much it costs per uh, per quantity, and then the total cost is the multiplication. Okay, let me just do this part again. Let's say total cost here, and then this total cost is supposed to be like, let me delete this part too. So now let's say that we actually want to get the total cost. So let's say that each time a customer, when you go to a supermarket and you buy maybe a pack of something, they only enter it like once inside the inventory system. But when you buy like maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or thereabouts, they enter it once and then they multiply it by the count of the products that you have gotten. So let's try to do that. So let's say I want to multiply this by this. So I'm just going to start. So one thing about Excel formula, the other time we had a class, I said something that if you want to multiply or you want to not multiply, if you want to write a formula in Excel, you start by writing an equal to sign. So an equal to sign tells Excel that you want to write a formula in this cell. So when you start with equals to sign, you can now go ahead and use whatever formula you want to use, maybe built-in or your own custom formula. But for this, I want to calculate the total cost of each product that these customers have gotten. So I'm going to start with equal to, and then I'm going to say this cell multiply by this cell. Now before I hit enter, what Excel is going to do for me is that Excel is going to go and grab the value that is in E2, and it's going to grab the value that is in F2, and it's going to multiply it together. So how do we know E2 and F2? Let me hit enter. Now I have 184. Now how do I know that this is E2? If I click on this cell and you look at this side right here, this name box, so this name box gives me the cell reference of the cell that is currently active. So right now I can see that this active cell is E2 and this other active cell is F2. So by using E2 times F2, Excel goes into E2, grabs the value that is there, goes into F2, grabs the value that is there, and multiplies it together. So this is a successful multiplication because each of these values are numeric. But let's say this were to be like a character or something, I'll be getting an error from that. So now if I want to do this too, I could do equal to again, do this multiplied by this. So which means that each time I want to multiply something, I have to like manually type it. That can be like time consuming. What if I have like 1 million records? Are we still together?
I'm here.
Okay. So what if you have like 1 million records? Am I going to have to like type that one by one? So if I want to actually autocomplete what I have, so when I do the first one, I'll bring my mouse to this side right here. So this side is like the box. When this box side here, once I put my mouse there, it changes to this small plus black tick, and then I'm going to double click that. Just going to do that again. I'm going to double click that. So the moment I double click that, it's going to autocomplete every other thing for me using that first one as a sample. So if I scroll down, I see E2 F3, E4 F4, E5 F5, E6 F6, E7 F7, straight down to the last record I have, which is 500. Okay, do you understand this part?
Yes, I'm with you.
So now I can actually do more. So I can calculate I can do multiplication, I can do addition, basic math operation, but then I need to always put that equal to sign like this. Okay, so now
To
let's
activate the cell for formula.
exactly, to activate the cell for formula. That's to tell Excel you want to write a formula there. So for this particular discount, so let's say that we want to give out a discount. Let's say we want to give out a discount to people that have actually, maybe I've gotten goods of what above a particular threshold. Maybe people that have gotten maybe above 200 should get like 20%. If you've gotten like maybe 300 above or 500 above, you should get like 30%. And something like that. I don't know how that works in the supermarket, but I'm sure they do give discounts, especially when they're on some sales or something like that. So now before we do that, let's come back to this guy right here. So right now I have first name, last name, gender, city, and country. Okay, now what if I wanted to actually have like full name in place of first and last? So let's say I want to have full name. I could say something like full name, and then I want to add these two up. We call it concatenate in Excel. We want to concatenate these two together. So now I'm going to write an Excel formula, which is equal to, I click on the first cell I want to concatenate, plus, and then this. Now look at what happens, no value. But if we were actually writing a programming language, this would definitely work. But because we are not writing a programming language, Excel has built-in functions that we can use to write some of those things would have just naturally done with a programming language. So the first one we're going to be looking at is called concatenate. So I'm going to say concat, which is short for concatenate. This first cell. So now if you click on this, if you can see my screen, you see, let me increase this a bit. Now if you see my screen now, you see that I have this concat. Let me just remove this concat. This, if you can see my screen, you can see concat and then text one. So this text one is saying what is the first text that you want to concatenate. Okay, so I'm going to just shift my mouse here and go to B2, which is this Cornelius. So that's my first letter that's the first character I want to concatenate, comma. What's the second character I want to join it to? It is this Kujawa. So if I could go on and then it will keep asking me text 3, text 4 and text 5. But it is important that I separate it with a comma, but I don't want to add another one, so I'm just going to remove this, close this and hit enter. So now if you look at this, now I'm having Cornelius Kajawa or Kujawa, whichever one that is. But this is not actually what I want. I want Cornelius space Kujawa. So now I'm going to introduce something right here. So in this formula bar at the top, I'm going to edit my formula. So in place of text 2, I'm going to put a space as my text 2, so that my text 3 will now be C2. So now I'm having Cornelius Kujawa and then with a space in between it. Okay, so now just like what I did the other time, I could flash fill this.
So sorry, I can't just press space in between.
No, you can't just press space.
Okay,
you have to separate it with a comma.
No, like the way you use quotes, you don't use double quotes.
Yes.
Quote space. Then I can just after the B2 comma space.
No, it
comma
won't work.
C2. Okay.
Yeah. It won't work. If I remove this now and I put space like this, can you see? Nothing gets added.
Okay.
So I need to put that space. Can you see? Now if I want to complete this now, I'll just do this. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, I guess it.
So now let's do something else. So now we have talked about concat. So let's talk about maybe count. So let's take one step at a time. So that now we talked about concat, let's talk about count. So right now we have like city and country. What if we wanted to check if maybe you have multiple USAs there, or another country coming up more than once? Because I can see that you have India, Nigeria, USA again here, USA again here. So let's say I want to count the number of occurrences of a particular country. So I could say equal to. So let's say I'm interested in China now. Is it China there? Yeah, China. So let's say I'm interested in, let's say, Nigeria or something. I want to count the number of times Nigeria is. So I'm going to say count. Open. So what's the value I want to count? I want to count this Nigeria. I'll put a comma. then right now Nigeria is 0 because there is no condition attached to it. But let's say that I have multiple of Nigerians here. Let's say I want to do like count maybe an occurrence. Now it would work. Now for that, now to count the number of times that this is here, I need to use a condition, which is count if. So now I'm going to say something like equal to count if. So I want to count it if it is Nigeria. So now to check what a particular formula does, for concat, I've shown you that if you write a formula like this, concat, and you want to know what this formula does, you can just click on that formula. Once you click on that formula and you are connected to the internet, this gets
where? Hold on.
Once you open this those brackets here, this blue tick should come out.
Okay.
So just click on the word there, and then this other place comes out, and it tells you, gives you a brief explanation of what that method is doing.
Irrespective if you're connected to the internet or not.
That's why I said you have to be connected to the internet.
Okay.
So you can just check out what it does and how to use it, and then it will give you like this overview of what each of this means. So now for count, now if I do count and I click on this, it's going to tell me the count function counts the number of cells that contains numbers and counts numbers within the list of arguments. So right now, let's say I want to count this. I'm just going to highlight this, Control Shift down arrow, and click this and then hit enter. Now this is not a number, right? So it's not doing anything. So if I want to count this now, I have to use length. So count is not working for this, but if I use len, which is length, short for length, you say len, and then open this, put this here, close this, and then I have value of 7. But if I want to count the number of times that Nigeria appears here, I'm going to use count if. So Countifs allow me to write a condition with my my count. So let's say I'm writing this Nigeria again now, and I'm doing count if. I'm going to open that. So now if I click this now, I get an overview of what I want to, what the formula is all about. So use Countif, one of the statistical functions to count the number of cells that meet a criterion. For example, to count the number of times a particular city appears in a customer list, use count where do you look and what do you want to look for. So now this first one is saying where do you want me to count from, which is the range. So I want you to count from this F, comma, what do you want me to count? I want you to count Nigeria. So when I click this now, I have Nigeria occurring 3 times. So this is the first one. If I keep scrolling down, this is another one, and this is another one. So this is 2 and this is 3. So I have Nigeria occurring 3 times in this data set. I don't know if that makes sense enough.
Yeah, yes. Count if. Count will only count number of alphabets in a cell, right? But Countif will count the number of occurrence of that
Count is going to
word.
count if you have an array of data, but we don't have that, so it's not going to work. So for this particular one I used length because
Okay,
I'm working
length.
with
Okay,
characters, so I'm using length, len, which is short
okay,
for
okay, okay, okay,
length.
okay.
So
Okay,
length is going to count the number of characters in that cell, but
okay.
count does another thing entirely different.
Oh,
But let's say
oh,
I want to check for the number of times something occurs in, or a word occurs in a list, or like a column, then I can use uh, count if. So the first condition is saying, where do you want me to count this from, this item from? And the second condition says, what do you want me to count? So this is it, count if again. I think it will make sense once you do this on your own. This range is saying, where do you want me to count? And this criteria means, what do you want me to count? Are we clear?
yep,
Good.
yes.
So moving on, in place of this we can also use something like or called count ifs. So this count ifs takes more than one condition. So just like count if takes just one criteria, count ifs will take more than one criteria. So let's say I want to count the number of times that Nigeria and Lagos occurs now. I could say count ifs open, what's the criteria range? 1, this f, comma, what is the criteria? The criteria is Nigeria, okay, comma, what is the criteria range? 2 is e, what is the criteria? So I don't have Lagos here, so I'm just going to put Lagos right here, and then I'm going to close this. So nothing is going to happen here now because I don't have Lagos in this cell, so I'm just going to fix that in now. So let me say Lagos right now. So let's say I want to check for Nigeria and Lagos. Okay, so equal to count ifs. What's the first criteria I want to count? I want to count the country, comma, what is the criteria of the country? Is Nigeria, comma, what is the second criteria range? It is city, comma, what is the criteria itself? It's Lagos. So I'm just going to close this, and then you see I still get 3 because every time you have Nigeria,
The person order from Lagos.
exactly. So now because I have just 3 counts here, here, okay, so I hope that is clear enough. So let's say I want to check for
Yeah.
something else. So if I change this now, let's say I change this to maybe India and Delhi. If I change to India and Delhi, I still have 3 because even for India here, India have Delhi and it has Mumbai. So if I scroll
Okay.
down again, let's scroll down. Can see Delhi and Mumbai again. Can see Delhi here. So that's why I'm having that. But assuming I'm using this one, if I just put India here, it won't use. Can you see? I have 8 because it will not check for is it Mumbai or Delhi. It's only going to check the number of times that India
India
pops
or
up,
Pop.
because you have India for Mumbai, we have India for Delhi, we have India for Kolkata. If I scroll down again, we still have more. India again, India here again, India here again, India here again. Can you see?
Yeah.
So my answer will be different. Okay, so now we've talked about count, counts, concat, and count if. We also talked about count ifs.